Now, as much as I do love the farm systems that the Detroit Tigers and the Baltimore Orioles have, there is no future I'm more excited about in baseball than the Miami Marlins. Since they blew up the team in 2016, the Marlins have actually done a fantastic job compiling prospects through trade and drafting properly. And yet, once again, they have a very high pick which they can further use to strengthen that farm of theirs. Though choosing the best available option may be a little confusing for the Marlins, but only because I find the two options that are nearly dead even in terms of value. So, who are these two options I find so polarizing? Well, they are none other than Texas A&M's Asa Lacy and Georgia's Emerson Hancock. But before I get into the comparison of those two, like every video, I'd like to take a look at the state of their farm system first, as well as looking at what young players they have to look out for. Starting off with the position players, the Marlins most definitely have some interesting pieces at the big league level. Brian Anderson, Jorge Alfaro, and Isan Diaz are all big league level positional talent, which have either flashed or proved their potential at the MLB level. It is also worth noting Marlins outfielder Lewis Brinson, who was formerly a top prospect involved in the Christian Yelich trade. Although he has struggled so far, that previous pedigree is still there, so you never know if he will suddenly break out. When it comes to the farm system, the Marlins have quite a few interesting prospects there as well. Jazz Chisholm, Lewin Diaz, and Jose Devers all represent nice infield options. Yet, if there's anything the Marlins have an abundance of, it's young outfield talent. In this category, you can look to JJ Bleday, Jesus Sanchez, Monte Harrison, Cameron Meisner, Connor Scott, Peyton Burdick, Gerard Encarnacion, and both of the Mesa brothers are all intriguing outfield talent. So that obviously shows that the Marlins don't need a top outfielder in the drafts, but the big picture is that the youth in the Marlins system is quite strong. Though, what about the pitching? Well, in terms of pitchers at the MLB level, Sandy Alcantara, Pablo Lopez, and Jordan Yamamoto are all bright young talent in the current rotation. Moving on to the minor leagues, expand that to Sixto Sanchez, Edward Cabrera, Braxton Garrett, Trevor Rogers, and Nick Neidert as more potentially strong rotation options. I believe that in the Marlins system, there are pretty much no weaknesses youth-wise, though in the top 30, the positional talent has a slight edge at 17 to 13, meaning that adding pitching would certainly help, though it wouldn't have ever hurt anyways. So in terms of adding pitching, we will now compare the two best pitching prospects in the draft, Asa Lacy or Emerson Hancock. The two are very similar, both being SEC pitchers who stand at 6'4", with Lacy only weighing 2 pounds more at 215 compared to Hancock's 213. Both players are currently 20 years of age at the time of editing this video, and both present frontline starter potential. So, what are some differences between the two? The most obvious difference is that Asa Lacy is a left-handed pitcher compared to Emerson Hancock's right-handedness. Though before some of you immediately choose Asa Lacy, let's compare their skill set. In terms of fastballs, Emerson Hancock ranges in the 94 to 97 mph range, topping out at 99. Asa Lacy can power his fastball to the 97 mph velocity as well, though has a wider range, usually with a minimum of 92 mph. Alright, so the fastballs aren't really different by much, but what about their other pitches? Unfortunately, there's not much difference there either. Both pitchers work with phenomenal mid-80s sliders, fantastic mid-80s curveballs, as well as mixing solid changeups which they throw from time to time. If we're looking at their pitches, we get essentially yet another tie in this incredibly close battle. So, as a tiebreaker, we have to use the stats that each player put up in their seasons with their respective schools. I am going to be ignoring the freshman year of both players, however, as they pitched in different roles as Lacy mostly came in relief, while Hancock started from the beginning. Instead, we're going to be comparing the 2019 and 2020 season of the two pitchers, starting with 2019 where Lacy pitched 88 and 2/3 of innings, compared to Hancock's 90 and 1/3. So, in comparing the two in 2019, Hancock does have the advantage pitching to a 1.99 ERA compared to the still solid 2.13 ERA that Lacy provided. In terms of whip, Hancock definitely won that category as well, having a 0.841 whip to Lacy's 1.038. As for the per 9 stats, Lacy led in the hits per 9 stat as well as the strikeouts per 9 stat. Hancock himself, however, led walks per 9. Pretty much in 2019, Lacy did a better job getting strikeouts, but did not quite have the command of Hancock. Likewise, Hancock did a greater job hitting the strike zone, but of course that also meant allowing more hits. On to 2020, both pitchers pitched for exactly 24 innings, which does wonders for comparison's sake. Asa Lacy most definitely had the ERA and WHIP advantage over Hancock as shown on the screen. In every category outside of walks per 9, Lacy beat Hancock as well, in fact improving on each category compared to 2019. So, although you may argue for a smaller sample size, I think this just proves that Lacy worked hard to remove a lot of his flaws to his game. So, with that said, although Hancock would be a fantastic choice as well, my advantage goes to Asa Lacy as the new Miami Marlin at number 3.